Thank God you're here. I've been stuck in this mobile game ad for years now. If you didn't know, I used to upload videos of me making fun of bad mobile games and their respectively bad ads pretty often on this channel. But it's been 2 years since my last upload, and I think somehow that resulted in me being stuck here. So I figured if I made a compilation of a bunch of my past mobile game videos, minus, the intros and the outros, stuff like that, then maybe I could summon some viewers to help me get free of this place. And you know what? I think it actually worked. All right, all you gotta do is click like and subscribe to free me. Come on guys. Click it, click like and subscribe. Guys, I'm gonna be stuck here for another, who knows how long if you don't free me. Guys, you have to actually click. Guys, come on!
What you're about to watch is a real ad for a real mobile game.
But you're supposed to be in the gorilla suit.
I am in the gorilla suit. I thought I was doing a pretty good job.
If you're Patrick, then who's that?
Hey guys, it's me, Flying Gorilla, from my new app on the App Store, Flying Gorilla. It's a free download, so I hope you check it out, and I hope...
Yes, I can confirm that this ad is at least mostly real. I have gotten this ad myself before, minus the SpongeBob portion. And if that ad does not convince you to download the game, don't worry, because it convinced me to download the game, and I'm going to show it off for you guys today. Flying Gorilla would like to send you notifications. Of course I'll allow it. Allow Flying Gorilla to track your activity process across other companies' apps and websites. Obviously I'm in.
Flying Gorilla.
I know what you're thinking. Masterpiece. That gorilla really do be flying though. Oh no. Gorilla, are you okay? I'm gonna be honest with you. From the few seconds of gameplay that you saw, you have seen the entire game. You just swiped left and right to avoid the obstacles and collect bananas. When you collect enough bananas, you'll become invincible for a short period of time. And that's it. There's two modes to play on. There's levels and then there's survival. The levels are really short, easy, and pointless. Survival is the best way to play the game as it just goes until you die and it actually gets challenging. With ads, levels are completely unplayable. Every level is so short and you get an ad after most of them. I played this game for over 19 minutes and 8 of those minutes were spent watching ads. It's abysmal. Almost half of the game is advertisements for other games. With that being said, if you pay for no ads, you will be met with an incredibly deep and inspiring game of a flying gorilla. Plus, with notifications like this, what more could you ask for? This game's called Twerk, and surprisingly, the ad is actually really faithful to how the game really works. And I mean... you're seeing it. You have to get the workout equipment to make your butt bigger, and whenever you get an illness, your butt shrinks. There's other obstacles, but that's the main gameplay. At the end of each level, there's a girl with her butt sticking out, waiting for you, and you have to hit her as far as possible. Some levels end with a dance party where you face off with another girl and you clash butts. You'd probably think there's some mechanic where you need to build up a big enough butt to win these battles, but no. If you do as terrible as possible, you can still win immediately. The gameplay controls fine and is okay, but gets old very fast since there's not a lot of variety and literally zero challenge. However, there is another game mode. You can build your very own workout studio. And would you believe it, all the customers are females. Wow. This seems to operate like most other idle games. I guess the overall point of this is you play the runner portion of the game while you wait to upgrade your gym, and there's no other reason to play this game. Nobody has ever downloaded this game for any other reason. And if you were wondering, yes, this game has an absurd amount of ads as you would expect. If you're watching this and think the gameplay looks familiar, well, there is a good reason for that. There are so many versions of this game that work exactly the same, all with slightly different themes. This one's about making your body bigger, and this one you're trying to get an army, and this one you're trying to get more money, etc, etc, etc. They all play the same. They're all linear games where you have to move back and forth to collect items while avoiding others. At the end of each level is this random event that's supposed to make you want to play again so you can do better next time, even though it's completely pointless. And they all have some kind of upgrading system. Meanwhile, after almost every single level of each of these games, there are a million ads. To me, these hardly even count as games. They're meant to give you the illusion of gameplay and progress, despite the fact that after you beat the first level, you've basically beaten them all. After most levels in all of these games, they're going to give you an ad or try to trick you into clicking on more ads. And not to mention, while you're watching the ads, some of them try to trick you into playing them only to bring you to a download screen, resulting in a never-ending cycle of kids potentially downloading all of these games, only to maybe play them but definitely download even more games. A game where you can control girls' bodies? That's right, boys, it's as cool as it sounds. The game gives you prompts and you have to form the girl's body to match. The game is obviously made for fetishes or just teenage boys. Same thing with the twerk game, of course. And I'm gonna be honest, I get the appeal. I too love it when girls twist their left leg around and make it look like it's their right leg. Yes, I love it when girls hug me like that. As you play the game, you of course get bombarded with a million ads in between levels, along with progress unlocking the love story. Initially, I planned to play this game until I figured out what it was about, then I was gonna put it down. But curiosity got the best of me, so I decided to keep on playing the game to figure out what the story mode was, and I am glad I did because... oh boy. So you begin the love story as this guy who has nothing going for him, sigh. Then he bumps into a girl who is carrying way too many books. Plot twist, you're now playing as the girl and you need to take his hand. You then have to make the choice to either forgive him or not. I chose not to. He then offers coffee to make up for everything, so I accepted. So naturally, he does his happy dance. By the way, listen to the game's audio. They sound like characters from Wii Music or something. Alright, chapter complete. Let's now move on to the next one. We now have to spend gems to continue the story, and then we have to watch an ad to proceed. No big deal. We then get this awesome ad and now we're meeting for coffee. Here I decided to change my mind, but it turns out all the choices you make in this game do not matter. So we teleport to the second story balcony along with the waiter. I grab my coffee and enjoy the date, I guess. Now it's time to do something fun. Given the text, it sounds like she didn't enjoy the coffee dates, but is now giving him another chance? Meanwhile, he is so freaking excited to get a second date. I mean, look at him dancing! So here we have to build the date again, but this time we don't have any gems. So we can watch an ad to get more. We're then treated with another sexual game ad that looks to operate the same as the games we looked at earlier. Or is this a dress-up game? I don't know, and I don't care right now. I have a date to prepare for. I now have enough gems to buy half of the amusement park, but I still need more. I guess I'll watch another ad to get more. Wow, they sure do be building though. Okay, the park is built, but now we need to watch another ad to proceed with the date. And wow, would you believe it? It's another sexual ad. Right now you might be wondering, are there any other ways to earn gems? Do we need to be watching these ads? Well, you can earn gems by completing the levels, but you only get 50 gems per level. And since after most levels you get an ad, I think it would actually take longer to get these gems if I was playing the game properly. Now that I'm done jacking off, watching the ad, it's time for our second date where the couple goes on a Ferris wheel. Here you have to move closer to the girl. I then just shove the side of my torso directly into her side, like the true gentleman I am. Hey, trust me, all girls love it when I pet them while levitating. You're actually the weird one for not liking this. After messing around with his body for way too long, I finally got into position and the two seemed to enjoy their ride. Now we have to build a party per the guy's request. But honestly, do we even need to? This guy dances every opportunity there is. He is the party. Of course, we need to build the sets, resulting in 2 more ads, and then 1 more to actually go on the date. Alright, now we're partying. I proceed to show off my amazing moves, and now it's time to tap to twerk? Are you kidding me? This is the first time this game has been outwardly sexual. I guess I'm glad they're finally embracing it, but this is just unnecessary. The girl had so much fun and now wants to walk home. Of course you need to build the walk back, which involves 2 more ads and an extra one to go on the walk. On the walk you have to hold her hand, which makes her moan. I'm not sure exactly what you're supposed to do after that. I noticed that after I held her hand, there was a progress bar that appeared up top, so I just moved their arms around and the couple started walking really fast until suddenly the house just popped up. She then says, "So, this is me." And I don't know what to say here. At this point, I just feel broken. I like to imagine this guy is really trying to smash, so he just kind of goes along with this. Yeah, that's right. You're you. I never thought of it that way before. You are so smart, so deep, so wonderful, so beautiful. I have loved these dates with you. You always know the right thing to say. It's so impressive. You're just a fantastic person. I also love how you just snap your spine like that. I can either kiss or say goodnight. Of course I decide to lean in for that kiss. Now it's time for their proposal. So either there's a time skip here or she's got some great kissing skills because this man is proposing after 2 dates. There's now 3 things we need to get, resulting in 2 more ads playing to get them and 1 more to actually propose. I was surprised there weren't 4 ads given the extra item, but I guess they were feeling generous today. Now we make him propose and make her take the ring. They then start dancing as you naturally do after you get engaged. There's now 4 things you need to collect for the wedding, 3 more ads, and now you can walk down the aisle. Here you have to collect things like rings and Christmas ornaments, while avoiding things like cold feet and lack of commitment. Once you get to the end, you rub your face on his like a cat. So I set up the beach for their honeymoon 1 step at a time. And by step, I mean clicking this button to spend gems and then watching an ad to get more gems. Real quick, I want to point out almost all of my advertisements during this play session, for whatever reason, was the exact same advertisement for Big O Live. I don't know why there weren't many different types of ads here, it's just how it goes, I guess. And after watching all of the ads, I don't even really know what Big O Live is. Maybe one day we'll check it out. But from the looks of it, it's a live streaming service, but only attractive women use it. So a few clicks and a few Big O Lives later, we're walking on a beach to go see the sunsets. We lay down, I hump the ground for good measure, and that's it. It's now time to build our home. 4 Big O Lives later, we walk to the door, which we have to help open. We do that. They then perform a synchronized dance to celebrate their unfurnished home. We then walk the girl to the center of the room, then boom, it's now fully furnished. And of course she has to dance to celebrate. Now the baby is coming. Hey, I can't help but notice that you missed the interactive baby making scene. What's up with that? And instead of waiting 9 months for the baby to be born, we only have to wait for 3 more Big O Lives. And then she just falls to the ground, but don't worry because paramedics are on the scene. One paramedic says, "Gentle please," and I have no idea who he's talking to. Like, isn't he supposed to be the gentle one? But it doesn't really matter because we need to get this girl on the gurney ASAP. But instead of doing that, I launched her off of the screen and she just kind of fell into infinity. And it seems like the developers knew this could happen because after a bit the continue button appeared. So I press it to move on and now we need to move to the ambulance. But of course I don't do that and instead I decide to clip through the husband and all this other stuff before walking into the void. Eventually I couldn't tell if I was still moving or not, so I just hit continue and I guess we did it. 5 years later, we now have to build a playground. We had to sit through 4 ads and somehow none of them were Big O Live? I want my girls back. Anyway, the playground is built. We sit down to swing and I guess one of the kids running around is ours? But we don't know which kid or if any kid is actually ours. We're given no context and we just have to continue the story. 3 more ads and no Big O Live. What the hell? So we're walking our daughter to school and we have to hold her hands to help her jump over the puddle. So naturally, I dunk her in, but somehow the game registered that as us jumping. I also love how instead of the kid raising her arms, the couple awkwardly bends down to hold her hand. Anyway, that's actually the entire story. The next screen is them dancing in front of their house with a promise of more episodes coming soon. What you're about to see is a real mobile game ad.
What are you doing back there? Pull me out!
The real game is called Couple Life. You start off by choosing your lover. I chose the girl and then I was taken to this screen. I first noticed a bubble floating around the screen, so I pressed it and an ad popped up. When the ad was over, I earned 200 coins that I had no idea what they were used for because the game hadn't even started yet. But whatever, I guess they'll be useful later. This bubble will be floating somewhere on screen, I believe, the entire time, just so you know. And by the way, just so you know, there's no audio in the game for some reason. I'm not sure if this was a glitch or what, but no matter how many times I restarted the game, no audio. We tap to start and we're on Tinder, despite the fact that we just picked our lover. You can swipe left for no and right for yes, just like Tinder. There's a list of qualities you're looking for in a girl, but none of this matters. Because once your girl that you chose at the start pops up, you have to match with her. You don't have an option as you literally just can't swipe left on her. Anyway, level 1 complete. We're then shown a map with 42 levels. At the end is an 18-year-old only sign. Okay, I see what's happening. We're going to be working our way through the entire relationship and the end will be the washing machine scene. I'll play the long game if you know what I mean. And let me tell you right now, if you enjoyed the Move People storyline, oh my god, you're gonna love this one. Couple's life is like way more over the top, makes a lot less sense, but somehow it's a lot more compelling. Level 2 is us messaging the girl Elliot and you get to pick the replies. Hello. Hi, stranger. What do you want? Ooh, not a good sign. I don't know why she's immediately aggressive given the fact that she started the conversation herself. What do you want? Go out with you. Me too. Want to go for dinner? Yes. Sounds good. Is it really that easy to get a date with a girl? God, what am I doing wrong? In level 3, we're at a restaurant and I'm feeding Ilya whatever food she's thinking about. She eats everything in one bite with the best chewing animation that I have ever seen. Also, what kind of dinner is this? There's a burger, cake, turkey, pancakes, coffee, and wine? Whatever, I cannot complain. My date who ate an entire drumstick bone in one bite is happy and that's all I can ask for. After I feed her, she blows me a kiss and now it's time to talk to her. Everything was lovely tonight. Thanks for everything. Oh, no problem. It was my pleasure watching you eat an entire burger out of the palm of my hand in one bite. Flag and all. Okay, so here's where the game takes a very interesting turn. So she says thanks for everything and your options to reply with are, would you want to platform a YouTube channels with me? Or would you like to pretend to be a couple with me to produce videos on YouTube? Where did this come from? I'm not sure why this guy is bringing this up as opposed to bringing up anything else. And if you didn't catch it from these options, English is clearly not the first language of whoever made this game. So I chose the bottom one as it's the weirder option and she says, sounds great, I think we can work together. This is mind-blowing. We're only on level 3 and this is already so weird. Level 4 has Ilya in her underwear walking down a path where she has to make some choices on who she wants her boyfriend to be. I think? Again, we're given no context. I chose to pick the worst option every chance I could. I thought we were building characteristics of her boyfriend, but once you walk to a new one, the old one is out. Maybe these are her past boyfriends? I don't know. All we can do is speculate. At the end, we choose between true love or a billionaire. The game clearly makes the billionaire the more appealing option, so I chose true love. So we don't get the car at the end, but we do perform a synchronized dance. So, what's up with these games and synchronized dancing? In level 5, we are with some other guy. In other words, that entire last level was meaningless. We now have to choose which Amazon package we get. I chose the smaller one for myself. In that box was a wad of cash. She got a box in a box in a box in a box in a box and then a turd. You're happy, she's grossed out, and now we're uploading this to YouTube? Given how the guy from level 4 was irrelevant, I just figured the YouTube thing would be thrown out as well. But no, it seems like there's actually some kind of continuity to the story. So the video uploads, it gets 200 likes and some comments. Ape NFT guy says, amazing. This guy says, let's have some fun. Okay, whatever that means. I'll try this later. You sure? So cool. If you say so, did you even watch the video? LOL. And my favorite comment. Can I have your number? What the hell is this? Who the hell comments this on a video? In level 6, we organize these bottles by color, but none of them need to be matching the backgrounds, which is kind of triggering. That's it. In level 7, you need to press down on your in-game phone so you can scroll through Instagram and look at other women. However, be sure to take your finger off when your girlfriend is looking. And be alert because her head rotates like a fan. Level 8 has you playing the world's easiest I Spy. In level 9, a baby shows up on your front door. In the middle of winter, in a cardboard box. On all accounts, that baby should be dead. You then have to watch an ad to adopt him. I don't know how I got this ad with airplane mode on, but I did, and now I am really horny. Oh, this game's called Legend City? That is too cool. So now we have to give the baby new cloth. We get to choose the cloth the baby wears. My favorite cloth is the mom plus dad equals me onesie, because it's just not true. Your mommy and daddy found you in a box they did not make you. But you have to watch an ad to get that cloth, so I settled for the Star and Moons onesie. You can then choose the hair. It's between whatever the hell this haircut is supposed to be, a bucket hat, or a bowl cut. I went with the bowl cut because it looks just like my boy Josh, and I've always wanted to be Josh's daddy. You can then give him a toy. It's either a chocolate bar, a floating cookie, or Huggy Wuggy. And it turns out that was a YouTube video. This time we only got 99 likes for some reason. Probably because we didn't watch the ads for the other stuff, and all the same commenters are back. Good job! I'll buy it later. What are you gonna buy later? The baby? They're apparently free, so it shouldn't cost you too much. A nice suit! Oh, you mean the cloth? Interesting! OMG! Can I have a lovely baby? I got no idea what this means, but the legend strikes again. Now we move on to level 10, and I'm gonna be honest with you guys, when I was playing this game, I had no idea what was happening. Attention! No love pic. So I guess these girls were sending him nudes, I mean love pics, and you had to cancel it before they sent. But I didn't understand what was happening, so I failed. I could retry by watching an ad or just move on, so I moved on. If you thought this story didn't make much sense before, get ready for even more confusion. So we're video chatting with Elia and she asks, do you have a child? Actually, he was adopted by me. Or, yes, when I was 16. Lie. I chose the lie. Stop kidding. His age is obviously wrong, and that's the level for you. So we don't ever get more context on this, and we have to come to our own conclusions. It seems like the adoption line was the truth, so I'm guessing that in this world, when you adopt a baby, they deliver it like an Amazon package, or Amazon package, and that's what he did. I think he adopted the baby just for YouTube content in the same way that he asked out Elia just for YouTube content. And I think Elia found out about his new baby from the new video that he posted. Essentially, the guy character is the world's most toxic family vlogger. In the next level, Elia sends you a text. Can you find some differences? Here you just have to find 3 differences and it's extremely easy. Now they're in bed together facing opposite directions. Probably because the guy just adopted a son then lied about it. Here you need to drag and match the objects. This part is kind of sexist, like obviously man likes basketball and woman loves diamond ring and shoe. But then it's donut, which was not obvious to me. I tried to give it to the guy, but he seems to not like donuts. But the video game controller, oh, that's an obvious one. Girls can't be gamers. Now let's go play some COD, eat Doritos, and drink Mountain Dew like all men do. Now Elia is in Squid Games. This is one of those games where you have to keep your eye on a certain card. I purposely got it wrong and Elia got hit on the head with a 100-ton hammer and fucking died. I didn't retry and I guess this one was another video. We get a lot of repeat comments and don't worry, this legend hasn't given up yet despite her being fucking dead. Okay, so I lied about her dying and now we're having coffee with her. The guy says, would you like to live with me? Period. Or, I need a new roommate, would you like to be? I chose the latter and she needs to think about it. Come on, it will be more convenient for us to produce videos. Or, please, it also makes us look more like a real couple. I chose the bottom one and she says, okay, but we need to make roommate rules. We go on to the next level and we can upgrade our house. And so far, this has been the one time I've been able to spend money from that ad I got at the very beginning of the game. This house building section is basically another entire mode of the game that you can just absolutely ignore. In level 14, we have to match the plants so they can grow and achieve the dream that all plants have, which is clipping through a shelf. Now it's time to decorate your house. This is just like the boyfriend level from earlier. I mostly went with the worst option again, but this time we can see Elia reacting to our choices. And at the end, we get to see our choices in the bedroom. Time for more cloth for the baby. However, I didn't end up dressing him because everything cost coins and I wasn't about to watch an ad for more coins. But after that level, I was somehow given free coins despite not doing anything to earn them. Level 17 is a memory game and now we're shopping with Elia. Do you need so many clothes? There is never too much clothes for fashion, boys. Or, these clothes are not much at all. I picked the top one. That's right, handsome men do need more clothes. And that's the level. What is this game? Level 18 has you rotating a cake, and you need to tap the screen when the knife aligns with the dots, or when you get close enough anyway. At the end, a piece is cut out that just doesn't align with the lines, making it very triggering. We're now rolling dice, and at first I had no idea what was happening, but upon reviewing the footage, she kept getting higher numbers than me with her dice rolls, so she kept putting on more clothes. I'm guessing that I was supposed to keep playing until I won the rolls, and then she would take her clothes off the more I win, just like in the ad where they were we're playing rock, paper, scissors. In level 20, we're taking pictures of Elia as she runs, stretches, and does whatever the fuck this is. The pictures are automatically taken when you focus on her butt. In level 21, we just have to match shoes. In level 22, we have to draw on her face as she sleeps. And would you look at that, this is another YouTube video. I found out that if you watch an ad, you can upload these on other platforms too. So that's what I did. I got another Legend City ad and it was so cool. And since we're now uploading these videos to TikTok, we're getting more likes. But likes don't seem to mean literally anything in this game. Unlike in real life, likes mean a lot to me. Please like the video. And we're getting the same repetitive comments. So she's pissed, but we completed the level. And by the way, we're over halfway to the washing machine scene. Level 23 says tap to start, so I start tapping and didn't stop until I realized I failed. I am not at all sure of what I was supposed to do. Moving on, we now get a sexy shot of her low quality chest. Then we have to ask either, are you chatting with another guy? Or, are you watching the episode at 3 a.m.? I clicked on the 3 a.m. one and this is what happens. That's right, she fucking dies. Again. This is the part where I really need to ask, what is their relationship? It did start off real until we asked her if she wants to be his fake YouTube girlfriend. She says yes. He adopts a baby and doesn't tell her, then proceeds to lie to her about it. But meanwhile, we can see her getting jealous when he looks at other girls and they're obviously sleeping together. My guess is that the guy wants to be a fake YouTube couple, but Elia wants something a little bit more. But despite this, he is getting jealous at her talking to other guys. So in other words, they're just as toxic as every other family vlogger in the entire space of YouTube. Back to the game. In level 25, we need to pull the pin so the two can get together and smooch. Then it's time for more cloth for baby. I didn't get him anything because it all costs money. Now we have to scan around looking for invisible stuff that Elia hid, I think? Now she has a stomach ache and needs to fart. And the kicker is you need to watch an ad to help her fart as if this is some kind of reward. And there was no question. I watched that ad as fast as I could. After the ad, we get a very provocative angle. We then have to move her body around and then tap until she farts and the guy vomits. Best part of the game so far. Also, is this a different guy from the last time we saw the guy? Or did he just dye his hair for some reason? Then there's another easy game of I Spy. Is there now another guy or has he dyed his hair again? Also, I think we're now playing as Elia for some reason. You have to say either, I'm going to the beach today, you want to join? Or, do you want to travel to the beach with me? And if you couldn't tell, they're the same question. The guy says, of course. I can show you my new bikini, or we can sunbathe together. I picked the bikini one and he's looking forward to it. Now I bet you're thinking that we're going to the beach, right? I mean, maybe? I have no idea what's happening here. Wow, I really colored that in and did not miss a single spot. Back to Squid Games, I guess. We have to cut the shape out of the honeycomb, and you just can't mess this up even if you wanted to. So when you complete your honeycomb, you find out that the other guy messed up. Instead of cutting his shape out, he managed to get rid of every other part of the honeycomb aside from the part you're supposed to pick at. That is actually way more impressive. Anyway, that was a YouTube video and everyone loved it. Level 32 has us putting dishes away. Level 33 is more bottle sorting. Level 34 is more cloth for the baby. I could only afford the broken cowboy hat, so that's what I went with. Turns out that was another video and people hated it for some reason. Don't like it anymore. So ugly. Guys, this is a baby we're talking about. Calm down. Do you all really hate him because he's wearing just a cowboy hat? Moving on, Elia asks us to spot the difference again. In the next level, the guy who dyed his hair, again, is asking, so who is that man? Given the hair color, I think that's the man who helped Elia fart. So maybe this isn't the same guy dyeing his hair, but they're actually all different people? So you can say, obviously it's my ex-boyfriend, or I don't want to talk about him. That's the one I chose, and so he says, forget him. There will be a better man by your side in the future. By the sounds of it, he's not talking about himself. Is he like okay with her seeing another guy as long as the guy isn't the fart guy? We now do more sexist matching. Girl like lipstick, boy like ninja, girl like 18 only in shopping, boy like hammer and wrench. I'm more of a pliers guy myself, but I can respect it. Next level has us dragging her face around to match the emojis, which is another video that people love. Brace yourselves for the next level. I'm not sure which of the guy is in this situation, but somebody has has proposed to Elia. You have to say either, "You know how I feel about you, I have fallen in love with you," or "I really love you and want you to be my wife." I picked the top one and she says, "Okay, but why are you getting down on one knee? Will you marry me, or would you like to share the rest of life with me?" I picked the more vague option and she says, "Yes, I do." I'm assuming the guy proposing is the same guy who started dating her for the views, and I'm assuming he's only proposing to her for the views as well. Next, we decorate our house again. We're designing the bedroom again. I'm glad to know the last time we did this was irrelevant. In level 39, we swipe to clean. Level 40 has us matching more plants that grow into shelves. Oh my god, we are now one level away from the washing machine cutscene. I have never been more excited in my life. Just don't tell my baby that I got from a cardboard box that, okay? We're now back in Squid Games. The two take turns rolling dice. For whatever number you get, you can pop that many bubbles. I popped them all first, which was very unfair since I went first. But whatever, I won 2 new iPhones. This was also a video. Alright, we've done it 42 levels. Now where's that cutscene? Wait. What is this? There's 82 levels in total, and every level is a repeat of the levels that we just saw as if it never happened. I sat through the most toxic love story ever that didn't even really make sense, just to not even see the washing machine scene? Are you kidding me? I have never been more disappointed in my life. I guess it's BS what they say, where hard work always pays off, huh? I played for almost 30 minutes and I have nothing to show for it. But I wasn't about to give up. No, not me. Like the little simp I am, I played through every single level again. These levels were a bit different, but they had the same gimmick. Think of this as the new game plus. I also chose different options every time I could, and would you believe it, nothing changes. I also made sure each video that the couple posted was on every social media possible, and I made sure to play every single game correctly. I wanted to do everything I could to make sure I was not messing up any potential ending. This time, after the last Squid Game segment, you're on a video call with Elia. She says, "I'm sorry, I still can't forget him." You say, "How could you do that to me?" Or, "You're going too far." I pick the top one and she says, "He suits me better than you." And then it brings you to the start of the map again, but this time the numbers have not changed, and now all of the levels are actual repeats. Which means I wasted about an hour of my time looking for a cutscene that was advertised, but was never actually in the game. Not to mention the rock, paper, scissors portion was never in the game either, which is even more odd because this isn't any weirder than the other stuff we saw in the game. So what's the moral of the story? It does not pay to be a simp for a mobile game that you knew had false advertising from the beginning. I want to play a game. What do you think this mobile game is about based on its ad? If you guessed this game had anything to do with Among Us, you would be wrong. So the game is actually called Fidget Toy 3D Pop It Trading. You couldn't think of a title that's just a little bit shorter than that? It's a collection of little things you can mess around with, or fidget with if you will. The first one is coloring, and it has the bare minimum amount of features to be called a coloring game. Also, your finger controls the middle of the brush, meaning you need to carefully place it so the actual brush is where you want to color. I know they do this so you can easily see where you are coloring without your thumb getting in the way, but that doesn't mean it's not any more confusing. After I colored in the seal, I hit continue, got an ad, and was given a blank canvas. So I drew a crewmate to make sure that ad wasn't a lie. I feel like I was supposed to get another outline here, but I just didn't. I then played the most unresponsive and horrible game of pool ever. If a ball was on the edge of the table, I wasn't even able to move the stick back much at all to give it a good hit. After that, I played an unsatisfying round of pop the bubbles or pop the whatever the hell this is. I then get an awesome ad and tried the lie detector, which isn't a fidget thing at all. Why is it even here? After that, I checked out the fidget spinner. It didn't move. It was literally just a JPEG sitting there. I could change which spinner to look at, but that was all I could do. I then find out I need to click continue to watch an ad to make the fidget spinner actually spin. This is awesome. I then spin it, but it does not line up with how I'm actually moving the fidget spinner. I then tried the light switch and then bashed my head against the wall so I could actually feel something in my life. So I am a huge fan of fidget toys in real life. They're fun and satisfying to mess around with, and that's all they're supposed to be. The problem with these mini games is that they're just not always satisfying. They try to make it work with adding a lot of vibrations and sound effects. Sometimes it can work, but oftentimes the game has a delay or is very unresponsive, making it very unsatisfying, which is obviously the opposite of what the game is supposed to do. This app certainly isn't the worst app that I've ever looked at, but it is not made with love and care, and they are not afraid to throw ads at you at any given point. What about this one? You have a girl that looks shockingly like Kim Kardashian. It then shows cockroaches and poop being made into ice cream, and then you can tap to eat. Well, if you guessed that this is a game where you make ice cream from poop, then you would be correct. Kinda. The game is called Dessert DIY. The game starts off by having you make Jello ice cream. You drag down the top, Jello falls on the tray, and after 2 seconds of gameplay you get an ad for a game I've already talked about in length. Now we choose our syrup. I chose the pink goo. You pour it, mash it all up, spread it out, cut it up, scoop it, and enjoy. You are not going to believe what happens next. A guy actually walks in saying that he wants a poop dessert for his ex. At this point of playing the game, I audibly gasped. I could not believe that the ad was not lying. However, you do need to watch an ad to make the poop ice cream, you know, as if this was a reward, because you do have the option to make another ice cream for the guy, but if you want to make the poop, you need to watch the ad. But the unfortunate thing is, at first, the ad just wouldn't work. I tried closing the app, uninstalling it, reinstalling it, turning my phone off and on again, making a blood sacrifice, but nothing seemed to work. So defeated, I initially gave up and stopped playing the game. But then 2 days later, I give it another shot, and guess what? I can actually watch the ad! Fun fact, this is actually how I found the Huggy Wuggy ad. So now the steaming turds are on our dish. And we make this poop ice cream in essentially the same way we made the last ice cream. We choose our ingredients, put our greasy little fingers wherever the game tells us to, and voila! You have made ice cream with poop, chocolate, and live ants. So what happens once it's made? Well, the guy gives it to his ex, who must be blind and not be able to smell considering they take a bite out of it. And the guy laughs, and that's literally it. After that, I decided to make one more frozen treat, and while this time it was a popsicle, the gameplay did not vary much at all. At this point, I figured I'd seen all this game had to offer, even though it was very little, so I was going to uninstall the game, but that was until a very specific customer walked right into my doors. Kanye West himself walks right up and asks to be surprised. So Kanye being here makes me all the more confident that they actually did use Kim Kardashian in their ad. At this point, I knew I could not uninstall this game. I had to serve Kanye some ice cream. Since he's a VIP, I now have more options when making my ice cream. For example, I made the ice cream out of hot dogs and cut it into poop shapes. Aside from the extra options, which I guess is nice, nothing changes when there's a VIP. So anyway, I give him the hot dog ice cream, he enjoys it, and that's it. And if you were wondering, yes, they cram as many ads into this game as they can. How about this game where you scan people with an X-ray to find Huggy Wuggy? Well, if you thought Huggy Wuggy had anything to do with this game, then you would be wrong. Idiot. The name of the game is Find the Alien, and in the game you find the alien. Who would have thought? The ad does actually show the first level properly, the only difference is they replaced the alien with Huggy Wuggy. So this is how the game works. You have an X-ray device that you use to find the alien. Once you find it, you switch to your gun and then shoot them. In between levels you gain progress towards a new gun that you eventually have to watch an ad to get. And of course, between at least every other level you get an ad. And this time I will be telling you the ad to gameplay ratio, so don't worry. So after you play through the first 5 levels that all play exactly the same, we shoot the Alien King. Now the king is much more resilient than these other pitiful aliens, and he does not die once he gets shot. Instead, he gets up and says, "Pitiful humans, you cannot stop the invasion. I'll be back." He then vanishes off in a puff of smoke. But if you look, you can see him creeping away in the background, which was genuinely funny. At this point, we can also claim our new gun. Of course, I watched the ad for it and use it in the next level. In that level, we're busting down an alien dance party. This time, there's no need to bust out the X-ray. All we do is shoot them. And here I'm using my new gun, but it doesn't do literally anything different. I'll tell you right now, I unlocked every single gun in the game and none of them have any differences to them. The only changes are visual and audio. If you for some reason are going to play this game for yourself after this video, just pick your favorite gun and call it good. Anyway, we have to stop the aliens from getting to us, and make sure you were on your A game because these aliens move really fast. No, but seriously, these aliens dance way faster than they can run. Once you defeat all the aliens, you go to a side room where you rescue 9 citizens who dance as soon as they get rescued. And of course they're dancing purely off of natural instinct, because what else are you supposed to do once you get freed from aliens? You then get a look at the world map and you see that you've freed 9 out of 102 citizens. At this point, I had a decision to make. Do I stop playing and tend to my Neopet? Or do I tell him that he must wait while I save the city? It was a very tough choice. I really didn't want to leave him behind, but I knew if I didn't, 102 people specifically would die. I told him I had to go, and he understood. And so I played the rest of the game. I'm gonna tell you right now, there is no evolution of gameplay at all. The entire game will continue to boil down to scan, find the alien, shoot the alien. Sometimes you have to scan 2 or 3 different groups of people to find all the aliens. Sometimes you have to wait for the alien to be revealed. And sometimes you have to carefully time your shots so you don't hit a civilian. As the game goes on, they do add more mechanics, but none of them are game changing. Aliens can now hide as objects, animals, or be invisible. UFOs can even be found impersonating animals. Sometimes the aliens are small, so it's slightly harder to find them. And no, you don't even have to aim for the alien specifically here. You can tap anywhere on the person to shoot them, and it counts just the same. And sometimes they have a tower jamming or x-ray device, so you need to shoot it first, and then you can continue to scan, find the alien, and then shoot them. On top of all of that, the game crashed for me a couple times. Not to mention, this game is full of inconsistencies. Like, for some reason, animals don't have skeletons. Certain aliens are clearly bigger than whatever they're impersonating, but the game doesn't even try to make them fit. You can see through most objects, but not if the game is randomly treating them as an obstacle like this train. Plus, sometimes your shots don't land when you 100% shot the alien. So why am I playing this game? Is it really to save 102 people's lives? No, I couldn't care less about their lives. In fact, I only said that to make my Neopet proud of me. Please don't tell him. I'm playing this game for the story. Not gonna lie, I was intrigued by the Alien King's words. I was wondering if this plot actually goes anywhere. I don't necessarily expect it to, but you never know. Plus, you guys seem to really like it when I look at these awful plots for these awful mobile games, so I figured I owed it to you guys to see this all the way through. So each world consists of 6 ordinary levels, followed by a special level where you exclusively fight off the aliens. I'll mostly just be mentioning the special levels, and anytime we talk to the Alien King, because those are the only times there's any kind of plot progression. The first time we see the king is when he shows up at the door. Again, he says, "Pitiful human, you cannot stop the invasion. I'll be back." Then disappears in a puff of smoke to only be seen slowly creeping away in the background. And again, the next level is where we break up the dance party and then free our first batch of civilians. The next special level takes place in some kind of lab or alien base. We fight the aliens and the king, who after says, "Pathetic, you're going to have to do better than that." He then teleports away. We save 8 more civilians, including a traffic cone. So in this game, anything that the aliens disguise themselves in counts as a citizen. I don't know why, but here's a list of everything that this game considers a civilian. So obviously there's humans, but other than that, a traffic cone, cactus, gorilla, carrot, seagull, fire hydrant, cupcake, pool floaty, balloon, bear, cow, scarecrow, and toilet. I just want to say there are no way all of these citizens are paying taxes. Anyway, the next alien fight takes place in another lab type beat. We free the citizens, and in the next level we find the Alien King disguised as a cop. After we shoot him, he says, "Pitiful human, our new tactics are unstoppable." Then poof, he's gone. Sorta. The new tactics that he's referring to are the tiny aliens and the X-ray jammers. Also, this class was learning about the mitochondria, which as we all know is the powerhouse of the cell. And at this point, I'm just kind of upset because this game is actually kind of funny. Anyway, we destroy the jammer, shoot the king, and he says, "Impossible! We jammed your scanner! It's not fair!" He then teleports away and we invade another alien lab and free more citizens. As you can tell, the writers are very creative and original. Next time we see the Alien King, he's at a cookout disguised as a fancily dressed man. After being shot, he says, "Party pooper, you're ruining everything, but you'll never get me." Are you sure I'll never get you? This is the 5th time I have shot you. I would say I've gotten you 5 times by now. A few levels later, we're fighting off the aliens outside near some mountains. We free the citizens, and a level later, we find the king waiting in line for free ice cream. And at this point, I'm thinking the guy's just trying to have a good time with his, dance parties and ice cream, but he just doesn't know how to have a good time without kidnapping people in his place. I don't think the writing is trying to make me feel bad for the alien, but at this point, this is how I feel, I guess. Take that for what you will. So once we shoot him, he says, "You are too late, human. We've already invaded the city. You'll never win." He then busts out some sweet dance moves before vanishing in a puff of smoke. So, this was the worst line yet. It's just such a pointless line because this entire game, I have been shooting aliens who are invading the city. So what he said couldn't have been more redundant. A few levels later, we're in the sleeping quarters of the aliens' lair. We of course kill them and save more citizens. Then the king is disguised as a fire hydrant. We shoot him and he says, "Tiresome human, you're no match for our spacecraft. Maybe you should give up?" Alright, if you insist. Okay, so this is the first time I feel like he actually gives us something kind of intriguing. Like, oh, the spaceship, you must be foreshadowing something. It'll be very interesting in the future. right? Next time we see him, we're not in a spaceship, but another generic lab. We fight the aliens and the king says, "Think you're winning? You're not even close. I'll get you next time." He then teleports away and we save more citizens. Then we find an underground base where we kill the aliens and save more citizens. Next level, we find the king clapping in front of an ice cream truck for some reason. "Miserable human, we're superior in every way. Even our dancing is better." I hate to break this to the alien, but in every single mobile game that I have played that has had dancing, I don't think anyone, alien or human, have been actually good at dancing. Finally, we're introduced to the spaceship, which is, well, it's there. It has no bearing on the story or gameplay mechanic or anything, it's just a new thing that is now there. We kill the aliens and the king says, "Foolish human, I'll keep coming back over and over and over and over and over." He teleports away and then we save the girl and more citizens. And somehow they have now changed it so the citizen rescuing cutscene is much longer than the previous cutscenes. Awesome. Later we fight some aliens on the street and the king says, "The secret base, how did you find it? It's supposed to be a secret." He poofs away and then I save more citizens. You know, Mr. King Alien, if I can call you that, I too would love to know how I found the secret base. Because this game has given us actually zero context, but somehow has a lot of story to it, so why not actually elaborate on the interesting parts and not just this alien who is a broken record at this point? So as these levels go on, there's actually some kind of evolution. There's more levels where aliens are invading the military and we get hints that they're trying to stop the aliens. This is most apparent when they're having a meeting on how to stop the aliens. Step 1, go to space. Step 2, destroy the mothership. Step 3, cake. And step 4 is bashing your head against the wall because you're actually kind of mad that this game can make you laugh. Anyway, the king's eavesdropping disguised as a toilet. You shoot him, he says, "Foolish humans, your plan will fail. You cannot stop the invasion." There is only one level left. We're attacking what I assume is the heart of the base or something like that. And by the way, the aliens are actually moving faster now, which is a miracle, but it doesn't really make the game any harder. Once we take down the alien king for the last time, he says, "Impossible, how could I lose? No!" He then just kind of dies, I guess. I also love how he has no idea how he lost, given that almost every single level I shoot the aliens and they never fight back. Oh no, how could we have lost? Maybe we should have done something instead of cowering in fear as that person shoots us. Like, I get it, the king is just the little gag character, he's supposed to be stupid, but just give me something here, come on. Anyway, we go to the escape pod, launch the escape pod, rescue the final batch of citizens as we watch the alien ship blow up. Earth is now liberated, everyone is rescued, we win, and all the game does is ask if we want to restart. So yeah, the story was very disappointing, but did you expect anything else? Let's start with Monster Squad Rush. I replaced the music for copyright reasons, but this ad is playing the original Pokemon anime intro. You know the one. I wanna be the very best. Da-na-na. And as we can see, Ash is running along collecting Pokeballs. He grabs Charmander and Squirtle but misses Bulbasaur and Ivysaur. Then Charmander and Squirtle evolve. At the end of the path, he battles James, who for some reason has a Feraligatr, Golduck, and Mew freaking 2. Since when was James the Pokemon master? So anyway, Ash loses and that's the ad. And no, this game is clearly not made by Nintendo, and there's no way they gave their license out to Tap Nation. So the question is, does the real game have Pokemon in it? No, it does not. However, the two runners you play as look suspiciously like Brock and Ash, but you can tell Ash's model has clearly changed from the ad to make him look less like Ash. In the real game, you don't collect Pokeballs, but eggs of the same color scheme. The monsters you collect are not real Pokemon, but it looks as if they tried their best to make their own. As someone who's not a Pokemon diehard, you probably could have shown me a handful of these creatures and told me they were Pokemon and I would have believed you. The gameplay is exactly like it shows in the ad. You run, collect stuff, get your monsters, and battle. The battles are all automated. The levels are all very similar and extremely easy, so in other words, this game is not very good. Who would have thought? Now I'm going to knock 3 very similar games out in a row. Metal Suit, Mashup Hero, and Heroverse. All 3 games have ads that showcase heroes like Spider-Man, Venom, Iron Man, the Hulk, Captain America, Moon Knight, and I believe that's Thor. These ads also have amazing text like, "How I treat my anxiety without insurance," and "Do it with Moon Knight please," as if this is a TikTok video. So no, obviously none of these are real Marvel games, and despite being very similar, all 3 of them are made by 3 different different game studios. Let's start with Metal Suit. The game literally opens with an advertisement for you to buy their VIP membership. So in other words, before you play this game for even a second, they want you to spend money. That's awesome. After the ad, you are met with a Tony Stark who really let himself go. You then put on your discount Iron Man suit and start the game. You can run in any direction by dragging your finger around, and you swipe quickly to attack. And I mean, that's the game. You attack enemies, collect things, and avoid obstacles. At the end of each level, you put together pieces of a suit. Once you put the suit together, you fight another giant robot. Honestly, if you want, you can quickly dash through every single level and there are no repercussions. Mashup is another runner game where you have to collect matching pieces of a superhero costume. At the end of each level, you either cross the finish line or run into the bad guy. As you have probably guessed, there is not much else to it. You can tell they're clearly ripping off the Hulk, Iron Man, Captain America, Red Skull, probably Thanos, and Deadpool's swords made an appearance. I'm sure there's more ripoffs in this game, but I didn't get far enough to see more because this game is bad. Would you believe me if I told you that Heroverse is another really bad runner game? The gimmick with this one is you choose whether to be a villain or a hero, and then collect the corresponding items. There's a ripoff Captain America, Venom, Green Goblin, Catwoman, Huggy Wuggy even makes an appearance for some reason. I'm sure there's more ripoffs that I don't recognize, so let me know in the comments below. Let's continue this topic of superheroes, but I'll raise you Among Us and Minions. Finally, the collab we have been waiting for. The ad shows Deadpool going around trying to kill a crewmate and a minion. At the end, it also shows us a crewmate, Spider-Man, and Superman. It's called Super Smasher Around Us, and of course it is not made by any of the franchises we just talked about. So this game opens with a random ad, and if you open this game with airplane mode on, it will say no internet connection, and you cannot play the game. So in other words, you have to play the single player game with Wi-Fi connected. Therefore, you have to be exposed to the awful ads that come with it. Anyway, after the ad, we get some clear Among Us ripoffs. At the bottom, there's even just straight up a crewmate on a button to watch an ad. When you start, you're given the tutorial, and the gameplay is just drag and move, and that's it. You know what? I'm noticing a theme with these very simplistic games. This genre actually has a name. It's called hyper casual, and I'm sure you can figure out why it's called that. Here we have a Squid Games crewmate, Superman crewmate, and I think that's supposed to be Huggy Wuggy, and for some reason he's not a crewmate. Again, the ad shows the gameplay accurately. You run around and kill the enemies when you walk up to them. After the tutorial, I played 2 games where I just kind of died instantly. I could then watch an ad to revive myself, or not revive myself and watch an ad anyway. So 3rd time's the charm, and I end up beating the level in about 15 seconds. And then I am rewarded with a robot girl from Squid Games as a crewmate. And in that very moment, I knew I had to uninstall the game. Now let's talk about Merge Run 3D. The ad shows a bunch of Minecraft Steves merging into what looks like Iron Man and Thor. Those two then fight Thanos. After that, it shows the icon is Doctor Strange and Iron Man. So the real game is very similar to the ad, but it mostly revolves around Minecraft. Every single level starts with a running section where you gather your fellow Steves. And every level ends with you combining your troop into various random characters from Minecraft and other IPs, like good ol' Huggy Wuggy. You fight Minecraft zombies, golems, skeletons, endermans, wizards, ghasts, and Squid Game characters. There's also an ender dragon that flies by sometimes just to give you an ad to unlock something. I can't tell if there's more ripoffs to this game or if there's actually some original characters, but either way, I think you get the idea. Now we have a couple of Disney ads, one for Mirrorverse and the other for Emoji Blitz. These are actually real Disney games. One's an action RPG, the other is a Candy Crush type beat. I mean, they both seem like fine games if you like the genres and Disney, of course. The only reason I'm even mentioning these Disney games in this video is because these were the only 2 games that were not ripoffs that I found while researching for this video. Let that sink in. Alright, from here things are going to start getting more and more unhinged. I feel like it was obvious that we'd be seeing some fake Friday Night Funkin' games here. The ad shows us Friday Night Funkin' with Sonic, Plants vs. Zombies, and ya boy Huggy Wuggy. The game's called Beat Battle, and it's essentially an unofficial mobile game of Friday Night Funkin'. And let me tell you, this game has every character under the sun. We're talking Huggy, My Little Pony, Tails, Annoying Orange, 3 more Tails, Jerry, Jake, Pepe Pig, Wario Sans, Cuphead, Goku, Mickey Mouse, SpongeBob, need I go on? Another Funkin' ad shows us actually running through the arrows. I hate to say it, but this game is actually really fun. It's obviously not official, neither of these games are. In fact, they're actually both made by the same studio. But I like to be honest in these videos, and this game is genuinely fun and challenging. challenging. And with that being said, I still cannot recommend that you play this game given the fact that this game is a ripoff from not only the original Friday Night Funkin' but all of the other mods. You again have a million different choices of random characters to battle against. And in both of these games you have to watch an ad before playing each level, and oh my god, is that another Friday Night Funkin' ripoff ad? I did not download this one considering the fact it's again made by the same game studio. I feel like now is a good time to mention that I did not search for any of these ads or games for this video. I found every single ad from this video from another game that I was playing. I know there's like a million Friday Night Funkin' ripoffs on mobile, like Call Friday Night Funkin'. Wait. That one actually looks pretty good. But either way, I think it's funny that out of all of the Friday Night Funkin' ripoffs, I was only given these 3 from the same game studio. It's probably because they're spitting out the most money, but either way, I thought that was interesting. The next 2 ads I'm about to show you are probably the biggest scams you are going to see in this video.
Robux check. Show you Robux. Try this game. You can get 1 million Robux in 60 seconds.
If you want to get free Robux, please download Slice Tycoon.
Play for 60 seconds.
You can get 1 million Robux.
Yes, this game can get Robux quickly. And very easy. You can get rich fast. Come and try it.
So both of these ads promise free Robux if you play their games. And then each ad shows someone buying Roblox cosmetics. I know you're not gonna believe me, but these ads are lying. The first game is called Happy Drawing. It's one of those games where you draw something to solve the puzzle. However, this is the worst version of that game I have ever played. You can draw almost anything that's in a relative distance to where the missing item is and you'll probably solve the puzzle. I've literally just tapped my screen to leave a dot on some of these puzzles and it just solved for me. And no, there is no Robux in the game. Well, there's at least not any in the first 50 levels. But there is Huggy Wuggy. Now the second game is somehow even less of a game. It's called Slice Tycoon. All you do is put your finger down and watch the knife slice. Sometimes there's an obstacle that I think you're supposed to avoid, so if you don't avoid the obstacle you will not be able to chop for about a second, but it doesn't matter because in most of the levels when you get stunned by that block, it does not impede on how many things you chop. There's also a multiplier on the side, but it's completely pointless given the fact there's not even a score, and the worst part is there's no free Robux. So I don't know if you've noticed this by now, but for some reason there is an alarming amount of Huggy Wuggy in these games and ads. But let me tell you, that's just the tip of the iceberg. So there are a lot of other common characters that we will see as well, like Among Us, FNAF, or Squid Games. But for some reason, the one I see the most by far is Huggy Wuggy, despite the fact that he is not the most popular character. But that doesn't stop him from being in almost everything. Billy or Huggy? Well, let's find out. This game is called Zoom Out 3D, and it's exactly what it looks like. All you do is guess what the image is while it's zoomed in. The game is fun, but it got repetitive very quickly. And there's some sketchy answers, like once it called a light bulb a lamp, and there's this one where the answer was a shirt, but in my opinion, the answer literally also could have been euros. There was a picture of Billy in this game, but I never saw it used in any of the puzzles. Also, no Huggy Wuggy whatsoever, but Pikachu was there, so that counts for something, right? Also, the answer in the ad was Huggy Wuggy. Moving on.
Yes.
I'm genuinely sorry you had to see that, but if I had to see it, so did you. This is Monster Egg. It's another generic runner game. The gimmick is you create a monster as you run, and no fun or Huggy Wuggy is to be found here. Alright, a whole lot of promises are being made in this ad. Promises of Huggy, Siren Head, The Grinch, Squid Games, and more. It also shows Huggy being trapped in some test tube at the end. This is Monster Lab Freaky Running. Another boring runner, but this time you're becoming a monster and wait a minute. No way. Huggy is actually in this one, along with Siren Head. I'm very shocked they're actually here. I didn't play this game for much longer because I mean, look at it, but maybe others are in this game too. Doesn't make it fun though. This ad has FNAF characters fighting each other and Huggy Wuggy. And I mean, yeah, that's what the game basically is. It's called Merge Ragdoll Fight. Before each fight, you design your fighter, and then you fight Foxy, Huggy, Freddy, and Chico. I don't know who's after that because I stopped playing. I never really could figure out the combat in this game, so for most levels, I just held forward and it worked out most of the time. Regardless, I can't imagine this game is very deep, and I'm pretty sure all of the customization is just cosmetics. Alright, another FNAF and Huggy crossover. This one has everyone trying to stay on the correct tiles. And yeah, that's the game for you. It's called Bear Party. Never did I see Huggy in this game, but it is full of FNAF characters. You can even see Roxanne doing a sexy dance in the background. You're welcome. Once you have played a single round of this game, you have played them all. And most of the time, you can just kind of push all the enemies off before the round even starts. The last ad that I have for today is one that actually looks like Poppy Playtime. You know, the game that Huggy Wuggy is actually from. I haven't played the game myself, but I know the game revolves around these extendo arm things. So in the ad, you can see both of the arms in action. And then, oh no, Huggy Wuggy comes in and you fail. This game is called Monster Play, and I actually feel like this game has a lot of potential. There's 4 things you can do, or 4 places you can tap, I suppose. You can tap in each corner, and that determines if you move your right or left arm up or down. At the end of the day, you can really just mash your way through this game if you want to, but there are a couple levels that actually made me stop and think. In the right hands, I really think this could be a very fun puzzle game, but I just don't think they use this mechanic to its full potential. On each floor, there's 3 levels with a boss at the end. The boss icon I got is Huggy, yet the bosses I actually got were Freddy, Pink Bonnie, and again, Freddy. After that final Freddy, you can see Huggy Wuggy walking in place. I wanted to give this game the benefit of the doubt, so I just thought, maybe this is some foreshadowing instead of, you know, a glitch. So I played through the next floor to see if it would be Huggy Wuggy, but again, it was Pink Bonnie. So I stopped playing and then uninstalled every single game in this video. So there you go, those were the worst mobile gaming ripoffs that I could find. Now if you'll excuse me, I got a phone call to take. Oh, hey, Dancing Devil, how you doing, man? You having a good Tuesday? Oh, nice, nice. What? The first ad shows us somebody cleaning a car's rear window, revealing a couple making out. Ooh, that is so hot. Then it shows us a glass shower being cleaned, slowly revealing a naked woman. Don't worry, incels, I will get to the bottom of this. If there is a naked woman in this game, I will immediately report back to you guys. The game is called Deep Clean 3D. Once it's downloaded, this game jumps straight into the action. It starts with us cleaning this teddy bear with a tube thingy. Honestly, at first I was really into this game. It was so satisfying. The phone was even vibrating along with the vacuum. But then suddenly the level ended before I was able to fully clean the bear. And in that very moment, all of the satisfaction I felt in the first 30 seconds was suddenly torn away and replaced with a very triggering feeling. Unfortunately, that'll be the most satisfying part of the game, and it's all downhill from here. Next, you have to tap to rotate the fan to get rid of the fart clouds, then sweep up the broken pot, vacuum the crumbs, clean the gross out of the tablets, and then, oh my god, no way. It's the car from the ad. Get ready, incels. Are we going to clean the car and see the couple kissing? No. Of course not. You clean the window and then watch an ad for Coffee Stack. As great as this game is, I'm sure, I was really hoping to see the kissing scene. At this point, I think you guys understand the game. There is nothing but boring, mundane, unsatisfying tasks over and over with an ad after almost every single level. So why don't we just move on to the next game?
No, class is so boring. Let's spice things up with some hot sauce.
No way!
Come on, one little sip wouldn't hurt. Oh, nice! Is that enough? No, that's not enough. Come on, thumbtacks, let's do it. That's a classic. And nice, fell for it again. Oh, what else can I do?
This is the ugliest game I've ever seen. So the game's called Prank Master 3D. The game starts with you customizing your just beautiful character, and they did make the mistake of making the best shirt in the entire game free from the get-go, so never did I ever change his outfits. Aside from when the blue hair became available, I wanted to make my boy look like Tyler Ninja Blevins. Despite what the ad shows you, you're not pranking any teachers. In fact, the only person you're pranking is this blonde-haired kid, which I'm fine with as I hate his face, which I suppose is the point since we're torturing the guy. And I mean, we're seriously torturing him here. This is not a game about pranking. This is a game about torturing somebody in the most creative ways possible. The entire game boils down to choose how you prank him. Every level you're given at least 2 options. One will work and he'll be hilariously pranked, and the other will fail and he'll be left untouched. In other words, this game is a 50-50 chance after a 50-50 chance. There is no puzzle to solve here and no consistent way to predict which option option to pick. Sometimes the game will give you hints like rock and roll, so obviously here you pick the rock, but sometimes the text isn't helpful or is purposely misleading. I also tried to big brain some levels by thinking, surely they're not going to have the screwdriver be the option for the 5th time in a row, right? So I would try to pick the option that's never been seen before, and I would be wrong about half the time. This game does not care about innovating or having any kind of strategy. Sometimes you'll still prank him, but it won't be the worst prank out of the two, so it'll say you failed. Like, sometimes I would watch the prank unfold thinking I did it right, only to have to try again. If you're playing this game, I assume it's for all the wacky ways you prank the kid. You must love his wild reactions and amazing animation. The ads you have to sit through every time is worth it, so as long as you get to see this guy have a panic attack and fear for his life. No, but seriously, why are we pranking this guy? I want the lore here. Was he the one who pranked the teacher in the ad? Is this game about getting revenge over and over, trying to kill this kid because he pranked his teacher? Are we really pretending to kill his cat and bury his face in cement over this? You know, the kid who works out, loves his cat, plays on the playground, and lives a normal life is being punished worse than anybody else in the world because he put some hot sauce in the teacher's coffee. Or maybe they're just jealous of his shirt. Let this be a lesson to all of you out there. I don't know what the moral of the story is, but let it be a lesson. Anyway, I played all 60 levels of this game, and all that happens at the end is you repeat from level 1. So anyway, for the majority of the remainder of this video, I will be talking about similar mobile games to Prankmaster. As I've mentioned in a previous video, most of the games that I talk about are hyper-casual games. In other words, they require almost no skill to play, are very mundane, and never innovate at all. Prankmaster is a subgenre of these hyper-casual games, a subgenre I'm going to coin as the choice genre. Most of the following games I'm going to be talking about today will rely heavily on choices. For example, Papers, Grade Please. I assume this is the title because they want you to get confused with Papers, Please, so you download this game by mistake. This ad shows a teacher grading students such as Billie Eilish, and oh my god, this game is just as ugly as Prankmaster. Anyway, the real game is very faithful to the ad, unfortunately. You just grade the students' work. You can also build your school and classroom along the way, but that holds no bearing on literally anything. The most exciting part was when you had to fill up these volcanoes with liquid. Wow! Teacher Simulator is another app that is essentially the same thing as the last game, but this time we get to sharpen pencils. There's also a section where you get to punish kids in the hallway. For example, you drown one kid with a fire hydrant as a punishment. Both of these games could be really cool if it was a challenge to grade these papers. Like if you were given a strict time limit, and you were given slightly more complicated questions to answer, this could be a fun brain exercise type of game. But nope, they didn't even try. Airport Security is pretty much the same game, but now we're in an airport. You have to see if they're lying about anything on their passports and pat them down if they have anything suspicious on them. That's it. This ad shows a boss firing people and giving raises in Dumber Mifflin, the Pencil Corp of all places. And oh look, there's Dwight. The game is Boss Life 3D, and the ad showed off the game pretty accurately. You can choose who to promote, fire, sign papers, toss money at your employees, take away Batman's cape, you know, the normal boss type of stuff. This game would be accurate to real life under two specific circumstances. 1. Everybody is crazy and needs the guidance of a laser pointer to vacuum. Or 2. This is the most toxic work environment ever. Like, everyone's okay with the boss playing golf in the office, throwing trash at them, and firing people at random, because sometimes he showers them in money and gives them high fives, and that makes it all worth it. Sometimes you do real boss stuff, but nothing in this game feels normal, is funny, or even fun. There's also random events thrown in that are very hard to lose, like the part where you sneak up on Dwight to throw jello on his head. At the very end of my play session of this game, I got an ad where you play as the president and make laws. But when I tapped on it to download it, I was brought to the App Store with a different game called Hyperboat. So naturally I download both of the games. I'll talk about the president game first, but then we'll talk about Hyperboat. And you better be getting excited for Hyperboat. You don't seem excited. Anyway, the President is the best version of this type of game that I have played today. Yes, of course, it's the same gameplay as the others. You mostly just make decisions, and in this case, most of the decisions boil down to being a good president or a bad president. But there seems to be a layer of self-awareness that makes this game stand out. I'm not going to sit here and say I laughed a single time while playing this game. All I'm saying is I feel like this game realized it's just as shitty as the other games, so to compensate, it really leaned into the wackiness of the game to give it some kind of value. There's a scene where you try to seduce a president from a different country. Michael Jackson comes in and shows you how to moonwalk. They make fun of Will Smith slapping Chris Rock. There's even a section where you make up laws like banning Netflix and chilling. With every single situation, it really feels like they do try to add a genuine level of comedy. While I personally never laughed out loud in the slightest, I do appreciate their attempt here. And to be honest, the worst joke in this game is leagues better than the best joke that has come out of any of the other games we have played today. However, this game is just as soulless as the rest of them. None of the dialogue matters. They'll say the same thing regardless. So if you want to make these guys twerk, then go for it. It just doesn't matter. You can make the ending of certain scenes change, but there's no continuity, so it makes no difference whether you let the twerkers join the military or not. And of course, they put in as many ads as possible. You want to blow these people up with a bazooka? Alright, that'll cost you one Raid Shadow Legends ad featuring Jake the Viking. Alright, time to blow them up. Oh yeah, that's right, we first need an anime ad with a horny meter. No, this makes sense and it's very important, trust me. Okay, now we can blow them up, and let's blow up these naked twerkers while we're at it. Oh, you want to send an asteroid down to kill these guys? Well, that'll cost you one more raid ad featuring Jake the Viking. Oh, you want to send these guys to hell? Do I even need to say it? I'm not even making these up. These were the exact ads I got during this scene. Anyway, we send the couple to hell, and wow, I am so glad I sat through that 30-second ad to get this 5-second cutscene. The writers of this game really could make a fleshed out version of this game where choices actually matter. With some more love and care, the comedy could easily shine through a lot more. But they just don't care because they make a lot of easy money the lazy way. And can we please stop with the soulless dances in these mobile games? It's a trope at this point that I despise. I was playing Escape Simulator the other day, and when you solve a room, the characters dance to celebrate, and it makes me irrationally angry. These mobile games are messing with my head, and it's starting to freak me out. Time for Hyperboat! This game isn't at all like the other games we played today. This one has a boat in it. So we boot up the game, set the speed to high and start cruising. Stop cruising, and then get an ad. I am not editing this at all. There is 5 seconds of gameplay followed by an ad as soon as you start the game. But this is Hyperboat we're talking about. A boat of this quality is very expensive. I don't blame them for this at all. So after the ad, we fit everybody into these boats. They don't look very hyper at all. Now we need to untangle the ropes. Alright, now we're fishing. Okay, now we're doing some Hyperboat stuff. Let's go! Oh, so what you just saw is the entire game. Every single level is a repeat of those 4 levels over and over and over every time they step up the difficulty in the smallest way possible, but never does it get to the point where it's genuinely difficult in any way. Not to mention that none of these minigames are fun in the first place. And I genuinely have no idea how to play this one minigame in particular. The instructions seem simple enough, but never was I able to do anything consistently. Usually at this point I would say something like, oh, maybe I just don't understand the simple controls and I'm stupid, but I'm starting to think that Hyperboat doesn't live up to its name after all. What's the point anymore? I just hit my freaking TV, that scared me. It bounced off my chair, onto my bed, to my TV. Merge Mansion is famous for its confusing and complex story that's shown in their advertisements. These ads sometimes show an old lady and a girl fixing up and cleaning a house, but more often than that, you see cryptic things like a house burning down, grandma entering a secret bookcase, grandma seemingly ruining this wedding, grandma being wanted by the police, only to ride off on a motorcycle, and not to mention grandma and the girl getting busy in this bush with some guy. There was also a series of these very weird live action ads featuring Kathy Bates. I think the most popular advertisement is when the grandma enters a police car, and as the car drives away, she puts her hand on the window, and it reveals a cryptic message written on her hand. People were wondering what the hell is going on with grandma. What is the story of this game? people needed to know how it all fit together. Along with the insane story, the ads also sometimes show this matching game. So I'm expecting Merge Mansion to be this Candy Crush-esque game that has little to nothing to do with the plot that we've seen in the ads. But to my surprise, this game starts off with Granny being taken away by the police. And of course, as they drive off, it's revealed that it says he's alive on her hand. Needless to say, I was in shock when I saw that. But then it cuts to 3 months earlier where the main character, Maddie, gets a letter for her grandma, Ursula Bolton, which is a very interesting choice of name. Since Ursula is not around, Maddie opens up the letter. The letter is a notice saying that Ursula has a mansion that's going to be seized due to unpaid taxes. And this comes as a surprise to Maddie. So, Maddie confronts her grandmother, who doesn't say anything and just reacts. Maddie then begs to go check out the house, and so they do. Once there, Maddie says, "Grandma, I realize you never want to see the estate again, but thanks for coming with me." Grandma then replies with, "I don't know why you wasted your savings paying the back taxes on this old wreck, Maddie." Okay, so given that dialogue, Maddie has presumably little to no savings left after paying the back taxes on this house. And obviously, Grandma did not help her because she did not want the house. But even if she didn't want the house, she watched her granddaughter pay her entire savings for it and did not chip in at all. And by the way, the back taxes for this place is $29 million. Now Maddie goes on to explain how she wanted to keep the house since it's her family home, and she feels responsible as the last surviving Bolton. So this is very odd for a couple of reasons. One is that she didn't know the mansion even existed until recently, so I have no idea why she's so attached to this family home that she never knew about. If I was her, I wouldn't even call this a family home. She also calls herself the last surviving Bolton, even though Ursula's last name is also Bolton, which has to mean Ursula is a ghost. Huh. Funny how you didn't mention that in your game theories, MatPat. That's right, this is a call out to MatPat to get your game theories right. Anyway, despite paying over $29 million for the estate, for some reason she still needs to fix up the place or they will still tear it down. And by the way, at this point, the only other thing Granny has said is, "Look smaller than I remember, messier too." Like, Granny, you could answer a lot of questions I have, but instead that's all you have to say. I guess the writers are just amazing at building up the mystery. So the goal of the game is to clean and fix up the mansion, and you do that by merging together items to create new items. But keep in mind, there's no puzzle to determine what items go together. You just merge together the same items with each other. So gloves go with gloves, box cutter with box cutter, etc. So that's the game. Thanks for watching. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Hope you have a happy Tuesday. Okay, so I'm like half joking here. There is a bit more to the game, but not by much. For example, you get cutscenes in between levels where you talk to Granny and other characters about nothing that important. I know most people watching this are probably mostly going to be curious about the story of Merge Mansion, so let me be the first person to tell you that the plot does not go anywhere. So you merge items to get specific items to clean up and fix an area. And after every area is cleared, you typically get some kind of dialogue. Some dialogue are just tutorials, others give an illusion of story and development, but aside from fixing up the place, there's no real plot development. Everything is purposely left vague and cryptic. I did not read through every bit of dialogue in this game because there's a lot, but it's a pretty obvious trend from very early on. So no, you're never going to figure out the mystery they put in their ads. A good example of the real dialogue or story in this game, if you will, is this. "Maddie, you've outdone yourself. It's as if you've turned back time. I'm glad you like it. Will you tell me something else about Grandpa Charlie? He was a real romantic, giving me flowers, taking me out to the movies, but then I lost him, and I've spent years missing him. I'm sorry, Grandma. Did your arrest have anything to do with it? I don't want to talk about that. Just... let's get back to gardening and forget it." That mostly sums up most conversations between the two. If you want to attempt to understand the lore these advertisements provide you, your best bet would honestly be watching Game Theory's video on it, but even then there's honestly only so much you can string together. Maybe there's some banger theories out there, I don't know, I didn't look into it. And yeah, the gameplay is boring. Like I said, you just keep matching the same items to each other to get specific items to complete the quests. And most of the items have a long chain of things they can turn into, to, leading to the screen often getting filled and me never memorizing what turns into what. And you keep the same puzzle board for every quest in the game. It is just mindless drag and drop items together. The only challenge comes from finding matching items on this cluttered screen. That is until they start flashing, of course. I got so bored of just matching the same things together, but the biggest annoyance was making sure the screen was cleared out of things that I don't need, but making sure I keep the pieces that I do need. And the screen just fills up so quickly it feels like you're mostly managing that. Upon watching back the footage of my gameplay for Merge Mansion, I found out that the last time I opened this game was after playing Ebony for a bit, and as soon as this game loaded, I opened up one quest, took one look at my completely filled puzzle board, and immediately closed out of it and stopped the recording. That's just how done with the game I was at that point. Over time, I accumulated over an hour and 23 minutes into this game over the course of about a week or so. Ebony is the game that has those pull the pin ads. These ads show seemingly impossible puzzles, and that's pretty much it. I think these ads are only infamous because they were shoved in everyone's faces constantly, and people were confused on how this game even works, since half the ads either show the person constantly messing up, or they show puzzles that are downright impossible to solve. There's also a lot of ads with people kind of reacting to the game, but their reactions never really line up with what is happening on the screen.
Wow. What about this one? Oh my god, I lost my treasure!
This trope is not limited to Ebony by any means, but I swear I've seen it the most with Ebony. My guess with how Ebony really works is it's going to be a bunch of these pin-pulling mini-games, but they're all going to be very, very easy with ads in between almost every single level. But I was very wrong. This is how the game starts. Did anybody have cinematic opening on their bingo sheets today? Like, this does not feel like I'm about to play a mobile game, and why aren't they putting this in advertisements? It looks a whole lot better than their actual ads, but I think the sad reality of that is that this just would not sell as well as this. After the cinematic opening, you select what culture you want to play as, and each culture seems to have their own unique benefits. I was boring and went with America, and after the loading screen, I was shown this.
My liege, the in-city resources are in short supply. Let's go collect some resources now.
What the hell is this game? Oh look, it's now the world's easiest puzzle. So if you're wondering what the hell is happening, so am I. Upon beating the puzzle, you're rewarded with 10,000 wheat, which I guess is one of the resources that are in short supply. You're then shown this city, but ignore that, you need to tend to the mysterious puzzle. We're then shown this hub world of the mysterious puzzles. So first we dive right into Egypt.
Please be careful, my liege. It's dangerous here. You must move the objects in the correct order to get through the stage.
Be careful, my liege, it's dangerous. You need to put the shapes in the correct holes.
What do I do? What do I do? What do I do?
Once you complete the puzzle, you get 5 hourglasses and hammers. Yeah, no, that makes sense. I understand all of the context here. And then that guy comes back and says,
"Well done, my liege. There are more puzzles waiting for us to enjoy."
So wait, is this a dangerous quest or a recreational activity? Because it seems dangerous as hell to me.
Upgrade the keep level to unlock more puzzle stages. Let's go back to the city first, my liege.
Oh yeah, the good old keep in the good old city. I know exactly what's happening right now. This game is incredibly good at just telling you random stuff and expecting you to know exactly what is happening. When you go back to the city, it's explained that this guy in the middle of the town gives out the special daily puzzles. So I get a little kooky and do a fun little puzzle.
Pardon me, my liege, but your people are in desperate need of food.
Oh? So the game then shows you how to build your farm, which introduces the idle side of the game.
No matter if we attack or defend, a trained military force is better than a militia. Build a barracks to begin training our ground troops.
Okay, yeah, no big deal. I was just farming, but yeah. Yeah, no, that makes sense. I do think it's time to raise my army now. So now we get our troops together, and now it's some kind of RTS or army building game. So as far as I can tell, there's three main features of this game. You have your puzzles, your city building, and the army building / RTS side. I don't know what to call it, we'll talk about it more later. The lore is that the king has died and you are now in charge. And the goal is to build up your army and rule over the land of Evany. The gameplay loop seems to be upgrade your city so you can grow your army and unlock more puzzles. Let's now break down these three game modes. The puzzles only really seem to be in this game because they can be. Sometimes they're literally just referred to as puzzles, but other times they're made to represent gathering resources. And I think that's what they were going for in general. They're just inconsistent with naming them. I will say the puzzles are the funnest part of this game, however, I don't think they're that fun. Don't get me wrong, they could be way worse. None that I played are very hard, but they do often make me sit and think for a second before doing anything, which is already more than I expected. These puzzles are all about two things: the order of when you tap things and the timing of when you tap things. I will say I do see some potential for some interesting puzzles in the game, and honestly, as the game goes on, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw more interesting and elaborate puzzles. However, I also wouldn't be surprised if the puzzles never evolved at all. Not to mention the animations are just awkward, and I was also randomly given one puzzle that was in a completely different art style. The style seems to be more faithful to the ads, but I'm not sure why it's in the game. The idle side is pretty confusing thanks to the overwhelming amount of things to upgrade and interact with. To be completely honest, I don't know if I was doing everything correctly, and I was 100% missing some main features. How important were these features that I probably missed? I have no idea. Maybe I should have been upgrading the random attractive girls that were periodically thrown my way, but I didn't do that. I didn't think they were relevant. Honestly, I thought they were just fan service. I think the tutorial tried to teach me everything, but I felt like I was just going through the motions, clicking wherever the pointer was pointing at next. I was trying to retain everything, but there was just a lot. And oh yeah, there's 3 more game modes that I was expected to learn at the same time. So obviously there were going to be some key features that I missed. When you start the idle process, you can spam upgrades like crazy, but over time things take longer and longer. The way to unlock more puzzles is by focusing on upgrading the castle and following along with the main quest. I think I was doing all the main quest stuff properly for the puzzles, but I cannot say the same thing for the army. Alright, let's now talk about the RTS side of the game. And like I said, I'm not sure if calling this an RTS is completely accurate or not. All I know is that you are definitely building some kind of army. The more I talk about this side of the game, the more you'll start to realize that I never had a chance at understanding what was happening. So yeah, first of all, I know for a fact I was really lacking upgrading my army, but I felt as though I had to prioritize either unlocking puzzles or upgrading my army, and I chose the one I actually understood. So initially, I ignored the RTS side for as long as I could, but I knew I had to figure it out at some point. So when I finally started to look at it, I decided to command an army to march and gather resources from a city that wasn't mine. So I waited a while, logged back on, and I guess I gathered resources. I didn't get any kind of pop-up saying that they gathered ingredients or anything like that. All I know is I had more wood than before, but I was also running a bunch of different mills, so I don't know if I actually gathered resources or not. So I tried to do more stuff, and honestly, I'm not sure if I was accomplishing literally anything or not. It just felt like things were happening with no meaning whatsoever. For example, the game really hyped up a soldier named Spartacus that took 24 real-life hours to arrive, and once he did arrive, as far as I could tell, he just disappeared into the sea of menus, and he was never relevant or heard from again. At the start of the game, the RTS part was single player, but after a few days you can fight with and against other people. So after a few days, I got an invitation to join an alliance called DTH, which I joined only to be booted from the next time I opened the app. I don't know how I was invited, and I don't know why I was kicked. And this is the best part. I then get a message saying saying that all of my troops were annihilated. Apparently, when I wasn't online, another player with 19,000 troops attacked my city of 614 troops and killed them all without losing a single soldier. And this all happened on the first day I was vulnerable to attackers. And I'm not sure what I was supposed to do about it. This guy obviously has so many more hours in the game than me, but even still, he was able to attack my city and kill everybody and take a lot of resources. Needless to say, I stopped playing the game after that. Upon reviewing my gameplay footage, I do not blame myself for initially not understanding so much of the game, because I was just as confused reading everything a second time. I do think with time I would have been able to understand everything, but I really feel like this game is made to be as complicated as possible to create the illusion of depth and intrigue, when in reality this game is just a hot mess. I will say this game shoved zero advertisements down my throat, but instead, every time I opened the game, I was given multiple pop-ups to buy something. Same thing with random points in the game. They would beg you to buy literally anything. You know that warp scan effect that you see on TikTok? Well, have you ever thought, man, I would love to participate in the trend, but I'd rather do it on a skateboarding dog? Well, if so, that's weird. You're weird, and you should feel bad. But also, Warp Slider is the app for you. Your goal is to match the image in the top left corner. But if you mess it up, who cares, you move on anyway. It's kind of fun for about 30 seconds, but why download this? Just use the actual filter and you can make yourself look like Superman with amazing nuts. For this video, I decided to enter random words in the App Store search bar and see what comes up and play the dumbest looking games out of the results. Now, can you guess what I searched to find the game French Fries? When you first open French Fries, it asks to connect to Bluetooth accessories. I have never seen a game ask me to do this unprompted, so immediately I am very wary of what these French fries might be up to. But don't worry, knockoff Cooking Mama is here to save the day. You click to play and now you have to drag a potato over and peel it. I have no idea what motion I'm supposed to be doing here, but I promise you, if you follow along with the pointer, it's not going to work properly. Alright, whatever, so eventually we peel the potato. Now we get to choose what kind of fry we want. We tap the blades to grind up the potato and the fries come out. This next part in particular really confused me, and this is a game about making French fries. After you click the arrow, you're shown the deep fryer, but the transition to the deep fryer shows these small fries, or whatever these are, sprinkling all around everywhere. Same thing happens when you tap the on button. So when I first played this, I thought, well, that's the game, I guess, because nothing was happening after that. But then a few days passed, I'm now writing the script and reviewing the footage, and I was just thinking to myself, there is no way this game just ends like this. So I played the game again, and what I found out is after you press the on button, you have to wait for 10 seconds without touching anything, and then the fries magically appear. And once they do appear, you put them in the deep fryer and have to do the exact same thing again. Would it have killed the developers to put any kind of indication of what was happening? Anyway, the fries are now done. There's an option to add condiments or a drink for the price of an ad, but the button just doesn't work. Guess I'll do it myself. At the end, you can eat your fries, but it looks like you're just putting a bullet through them. Another word I searched in the App Store was Morbius. My favorite thing that I found was this runner game where you play as Morbius. The game is based around a light mechanic that you need to use to see ahead of you, which is kind of cool, but more often than not, it's just annoying. At the end of each level, you run into, a creature? Full disclosure, I have never seen Morbius and probably never will, so if any of these things are a Morbius reference, I got no idea. So anyway, you run into the creature and hit it through a couple walls until it runs into 7 flying Morbiuses doing some kind of ritual. A few levels later, you get this amazing cutscene. And now it's a rhythm game where you're JoJo punching Keelvin, whoever the hell Keelvin is. After that, you get another amazing cutscene. Anyway, guess what word I searched on the App Store to find butts in space?
1 butt, 2 butt,
but 3 but 4 but 4 but every but classy butts everywhere, butts in space, butts everywhere. What a disgrace.
That opening always brings a tear to my eye. And if you were wondering what the plot of the game is, which I know you were, this guy stole all of the toilet paper in the universe.
If you want to wipe your butt, you must ask me for permission. I'm the keeper of the toilet paper.
If you want to wipe your butt, you must ask me for permission. I'm the keeper of the toilet paper.
You know, they really didn't have to make this song go so hard, but they did anyway. Yeah, honestly, this is a fine game where you float around trying to collect toilet paper while dodging the obstacles. I really just wanted an excuse to talk about butts in space, and can you blame me? This next one is called Supermarket Shopping Games 3D. But when the game loads, it just says Pawn Shop. And spoiler alert, this game is about running a pawn shop. Alright, let's dive into it. You play as a character named Ben. Finally, I've bought this pawn shop. Now I will become a business tycoon. But first, I want to buy different things from shopping marts. Let's go to the shopping mart. This guy talks like an AI wrote him, or he is an AI. Finally, I have Minecraft channel. I will become a pedophile. So the game is you going to the shopping mart and buying items so you can resell them for more money. Which I don't think is illegal, but it's definitely a bit sketchy. What a fantastic business tycoon this guy will become. So in the shopping mart, you just walk up to the items you want to buy and then buy them. But what I like to do more is explore this oddly eerie store. Behind the counter looks like I got lost in the back rooms. The cashier looks creepy and clips through the counter. Meanwhile, the only thing the shopping mart has is like dozens of duplicates of the same few items, including these iPhones that are just sitting on the shelves for anybody to take. I actually used to sell iPhones for a living, and let me tell you, we put these giant metal bars over the iPhones and you needed a key to access them. All I'm saying is I don't think this cashier is going to be a business tycoon anytime soon. After you buy everything you need, you start your first day at the pawn shop. And you start your first day by opening the doors. And it looks like directly outside your doors is nothing but a tall drop onto concrete with no guardrail or anything, I guess. So what I'm trying to say is my biggest problem with the game so far is the architecture of the place. Anyway, no, you cannot leave the building and people just walk right past you. I can't believe they don't respect a business tycoon like Ben. Once they get to the counter, they buy items from you, do a little JoJo pose, and that's the level. After that level, you go back to the shopping mart to buy more items, then back to the pawn shop to sell them off. The entire game is just a repeat between these two levels. The shopping mart sections don't evolve at all. They're all just a waste of time unless you like exploring the back rooms. However, the pawn shop levels have a bit more to them, I guess. First of all, there's a timed mechanic where if you take too long to help the customers, they'll leave. But there's only ever 3 customers, and it takes over a minute and a half for them to leave. So basically, if you're taking a minute and a half to help the other customers, I don't know what to tell you. Customers will either come in and try to buy or sell something. Everything goes smoothly and works the exact same until around level 6 or so. That's when you need to start negotiating prices, but you have to figure that out on your own because the tutorial explains none of this. So after every level you get these crystals, and you use the crystals to negotiate better prices with the customers, which becomes necessary as if you don't negotiate, you won't make enough money, causing you to fail the level and have to restart. Like, who cares if you made over $4,000 in profit the day before, you're 50 bucks short today. Try again. So you spend gems to negotiate and then easily beat the level, but if you're out of gems, you have to replay a level to get more. Do all of that for 10 levels and boom, you beat the game. Your prize for beating the game? The game starts over from the beginning as if you open the game for the very first time ever. Oh, mobile gaming. Never change. Another game with a misleading title is Scary School Teacher 2021. This game has you going around this teacher's house pranking her in hilarious ways. And I mean with animations like that. How could you not laugh? The gameplay is just following the arrow and then doing whatever the game prompts you to do. And go figure, the arrow isn't always the most accurate. There's also a teacher cam in the upper right hand corner that I didn't understand the point of for the longest time. All she does is walk back and forth while you prank her. It's completely irrelevant for the first 10 minutes of gameplay. Eventually you have to go upstairs for the prank, and from there it kinda becomes a stealth game. However, even from there the camera remained useless and didn't help me out at all. Anyway, the teacher's AI is very basic. She just goes around in a circle and hardly ever sees you, but when she does, it feels random. And then she just chases you for about 5 seconds or so and gives up. At one point I had to go back downstairs, but she just stood there for 10 seconds blocking the path before finally turning around. So obviously by this point we have determined that this game is fantastic, but why is it called Scary Teacher? Is the scary part when she finds you? If that's the case, I don't think she's a scary teacher. I think she's more than justified in trying to be scary when you entered her house without permission. Another thing I was wondering is, why are we pranking her? Like, what did she do to deserve this? Well, there is one level where we find a cat unattended in a glass cage with no air holes. Alright, now I'm a little more on board with pranking her. However, I think we should call the police, as she is clearly suffocating this cat. But whatever, it's all good. Just break her TV from the 70s. That'll show her for trying to kill a cat. Did somebody say Mom Life versus Evil Baby game? No? Well, somebody should have, because it's a very good game. You start the game by choosing which demented baby doing crunches you want to play as. Meanwhile, we get to enjoy Mom with a ray gun shooting a running baby. Then the instruction says to collect consumables, items, and avoidy Granny. So the game has Mom in the title, but now they're retconning it to Granny. That's fine, I guess. So the game then starts us in this amazingly textured world with no visual problems whatsoever. I then spend a good while running around this surprisingly vast place, trying to figure out what to do. I then finally found the one building with lights on and entered it. And of course the place was amazingly textured and had no visual bugs whatsoever. I then see some glowing bananas in the Granny pacing back and forth. I stand in the nanas, but Granny did not like that. She then menacingly runs up to me but doesn't really do anything, so I tried to run away. While I'm running away and having camera troubles, I hear her fall down and apparently she just phased through the walls. By the way, now there's a countdown. However, once the countdown reaches 0, it just resets itself. So I then walked up to the bananas again, and with a very precise angle I was able to pick them up, which is how you beat the level and get a beautiful ad. Level 2 is the exact same thing, but now there's an even worse visual glitch. The roof of the house looks like some kind of ground texture. I also found out that a shack that was outside of the house just clips right through the kitchen. Anyway, Granny finds me, gives me a couple good swings. I cry and then fail the level. So I tried the level again, and don't worry, the same glitches are there. This time I tried to be sneaky, but I failed. I attempted to grab the meat while on the run, but I also failed at that. So I tried to escape outside again, which again caused Granny to collapse and clip through the wall. I'm then able to pick up the meat and beat the level. Now it's time for the third and final level. Yes, all of the same glitches are still there. Since the game didn't want to mix literally anything up, I tried to do it myself. I tried to find another way inside to avoid Granny, but there's only one entrance. Once inside, I saw the new item straight ahead of me and was able to grab it without Granny seeing me. And since that was the last level, I beat the game. I played one more time in free play just to look around. The only other thing of note that I saw was this mini telephone pole going through this bed, and that's Mom Life versus Evil Baby games for ya. Now after all of this, I am sure you have lost all faith in mobile gaming just as I have. Well, to bring it back, may I introduce Wormoids. The game has no tutorial or instructions, but once you figure it out, you'll find out all you have to do is tap the colors that appear in the center. The game does does get quite difficult and it changes everything up as you go on. And did I mention there's worms? Wormoids and Space Butts were the only two decent games I found while playing the rest of these awful games. To say thanks for saving my sanity, I'm going to give them their respective shoutouts. They're not bad games at all. So Sponge and Crab Neighbors is this 3D game that takes place in this small rundown town. And I'm pretty sure this doesn't even take place underwater. I'm not seeing any pineapples, no Eastern Island heads, just depression. And honestly, yeah, I feel that. So if you couldn't tell by the titles of these games, these are Hello Neighbor ripoffs. All you do in the first one are just these menial tasks, which always involves you walking in and out of the house, interacting with objects, and that's pretty much it. Sometimes you have to avoid this terrifying crab monster, sometimes it's this terrifying sponge monster, and sometimes it's this guy? Who is this? I doubt this landlubber can even breathe underwater. You also play as these two characters, and sometimes you play as the sponge and also have to avoid the same sponge in the same level. There's just no consistency, there's no rhyme or reason for anything, no logic at all. I'm not even seeing any snails that can meow. Please, for the love of God, get a grip on reality. Okay, anyway, this game plays so bad. It is so frustrating as there's very little context on what even to do. And sometimes, the enemies just get you, man. It's like a freaking horror movie out there. But I stuck it out and beat the entire game. Ocean Gang! Neighbor Escape has you doing the exact same stuff, but this time you get to pick which Uncanny Valley SpongeBob character you want to play as. This is that peanut guy, this is Sandy in her mouse form. I have no fucking idea what they were going for here. I don't even have a joke prepared for this one. This really could be their attempt at Patrick, and if that's the case, fuck you. This is Marge Simpson, Mr. Krabs, Alien Plankton, and good old Squidward, which is who I played as. This is quite literally the same game as the last one, but worse. If you can believe it, you're given even less direction here. In the first level, you have to go to the second floor, but almost every single time I went to the second floor, I was immediately gifted with an ad. And almost every single time that ad was over, I was getting attacked by some random ass peanut guy, and I could do nothing about it, and I would just die. Because of that, it took me 12 minutes of attempts to beat that one level. For context, my successful playthrough for that level only took 1.5 minutes, and it took me only 20 minutes to beat the entire game for the last one we looked at. And it took me 12 minutes to beat this one level. So yeah, I gave up on the game, but I didn't give up on you. Please keep watching. I know for a fact some of you guys are commenting right now to put my plane on airplane mode, and spoiler alert, I've known that was a thing the entire time.
I don't need that comment on every single video.
Some games do not work when airplane mode is turned on, and I really enjoy ads like this one. So, Scary SpongeBob Neighbor 3D is essentially the same game, but I could not find the SpongeBob correlation. You play as this rat, and I could not beat this first level as it requires you to jump on this counter, which I was able to do once and only once. However, as soon as I got on top of that counter, I accidentally fell off and got ratios. So I kept trying to jump on the counter again over and over for 5 minutes straight unsuccessfully. How did I even get up there the first time? I don't know. Sponge Neighbor Story 3D looks like this very bad Roblox game, and honestly, I can't tell you what I'm supposed to be doing in this. I can't tell you much about the game at all. The enemies can overwhelm you and kill you just way too easily. I wasn't able to do a single goddamn thing in this game. But don't forget about Epic Sponge Run. I know you forgot about it. I told you not to. This is basically a single-player, more boring and more depressing version of Fall Guys, albeit it is spongier. They did not lie about that. So how about that Joe Biden, huh? Pretty cute, huh? And those policies of his, huh? I literally couldn't tell you a single thing he's done. I don't follow politics. But you did say soda. I do know about that. Soda! And do you remember those memes in like 2014 or 15 or so with Obama and Joe being best friends? Those are pretty cool. Reminiscing of all these good times makes me really want to play a good old round of Flappy Joe game. Do I even need to elaborate here?
The way China will respond is when we gather the rest of the world that in fact believes in free in open trade and making sure that we're in a position that the world that we deal with WHO.
Joe, what are you trying to say? This game is just called Biden. You can have him say some specific quotes, you can watch these animated cutscenes with Obama, and play another version of Flappy Joe and this other mini game. And by the way, there's another app that is quite literally the same thing called Bosses, but I believe you can play as more presidents or political figures. But what is original is this game called Sleepy Joe's Ice Cream Adventures. It's a political satire game where Joe beats people up. It's probably my game of the year, just don't ask me about the cutscenes. Okay, actually it was my game of the year until this Where's Waldo ripoff featuring Joe Biden came out. Okay, no, but seriously, this game has major unrealistic expectations of you. There are way too many people that look way too similar to Joe in way too short amount of a time. I don't know how you're supposed to get past level 2. However, I am looking forward to playing the Trump and Obama DLC, but this section is about Joe and Joe only. Well, that is what I intended to do until I found this just excellent Obama quiz in this game called Obama Run. Obama Run is basically just Flying Gorilla, but even more memey. Don't ask me why all the patterns are Vin Diesel. Flying Gorilla was also the first bad mobile game that I reviewed on this channel, and I kinda regret that now. That game is just as bad as the rest, but everybody treats it like it's the best game ever because it is just so memey. Is memey a word? I don't know. However, that mindless praise of Flying Gorilla only contributes to the lazy and greedy business model of most mobile games nowadays. By supporting Flying Gorilla, all you are doing is telling these sketchy game devs that their destructive business practices are valid as long as they turn their game into a meme. I spit on thy who support Flying Gorilla. I spit on thy. I need a cold shower. Thanks. I also bought these Joe Biden sticker packs with real money. All these packs are transparent pictures of Joe that can be accessed in the little bar where you find emojis and whatnot. So basically, I paid for a bunch of pictures that I could easily find online and a little place for them to live. However, they do amplify all conversations. This is objective. My relationship with my boy Josh would not be nearly the same without this. Highly recommended. Alright, let's now go down the rabbit hole of Elsa ripoffs. This is Frozen Queen. I don't know why it's cropped like this. I'll zoom in on it for you because I'm a nice guy. I selected to play as Anya, but it turns out she's paid DLC. I am positive she's worth the price. Anya would not let me down. However, I just spent too much money on these Joe Biden packs. So Anya, please wait for me. I need to make money off of this YouTube video first, and then I can purchase you. Yeah, no, actually subscribe for Anya updates. I'll tell you in a future video if I bought the Anya pack, if this video made enough money to buy it. Okay, anyway, I am going with Ella. Not Elsa, different characters entirely. So we're just washing her face here, and for no good reason, I can't even use this lotion. I swear to God, if this lotion is more paid DLC. So instead of using the lotion or doing anything else, I just kept washing and re-washing her face over and over, listening to how Spa is super important over and over until I realized I had to swipe to the side to get more options to clean her face and make her face look like some wrapping paper, I guess. You can also do some pretty thrilling stuff like pop her pimples and pluck her eyebrows. If only I could pop Anya's eyebrows. Wait for me, my queen. I don't know what this side story is. I'm over it. Okay, now we're adding this cream, or at least I would like to. When you click on the cream, all that happens is you get a pointer to her chin, and you just can't do anything else. Oh, I'm getting a call. Oh, hey, Dad. Hey, stop calling me to tell me I'm useless. I know I'm useless. I can't even put the cream on Ella's chin. But at least I could get to the end of the game where I could actually dress up Ella. And thank God there's a button to take a picture of this. I don't know how else I would have taken a screenshot. And now I can easily send her to Josh. Josh loves this kind of stuff. He'll miss me when I'm gone. I think it's time for Pregnant Elsa. This game is called Ice Mommy, and the first 2 levels are us pampering Elsa. In the second one, she gets this sick baby bump, and in the next one, we're pampering a horse. Is this a character? I don't know. I've never seen the movies. So now we're back to Elsa, but we can't see her baby bump, so what's even the point? I'm only making these weird jokes because these types of games have 2 specific audiences. Little kids or people with pregnant fetishes. Which category do you fall into? You have to pick right now. Let me know in the comments below. What other reasons are there for there being so many of these games? Anyway, this game is a constant question of, am I actually making any progress? There is virtually no feedback in this game whatsoever. And good luck finding the hitboxes. If you get to the fingernail cutting level and you want to save yourself a solid 2 minutes, then I'll tell you right now that the hitboxes are slightly to the right of the fingernails for no reason. Alright, the baby's born now, which is all fine and dandy, but we didn't even get to see the birthing scene. Why am I even playing the game? I am spiraling right now. Whatever, let's just clean up the gross baby and then we'll dress them up. However, there is no screenshot button here. How else am I supposed to send a picture of my creation to my boy Josh? 1 star. However, I can now spend the coins that I've been earning throughout this entire game to unlock this Find the Difference minigame. To unlock the other 2 minigames, I will have to play the entire game again to have enough coins to be able to buy it. It's alright, I've been through worse. I lived through 2020. Finally, I've earned enough coins to unlock the last 2 minigames, and they're both very, very simple jigsaw puzzles. 2 stars. So right now, I know exactly what you're thinking. Please tell me you have more Pregnant Elsa games. Yeah, I got 3 more. Here's Ice Princess Grows, or should I say Construction Games Build House. I mean, I got an ad for this game immediately after opening it, so it's in the video now. If you thought the 1 baby level in the last game was fun, well then buckle up because that's all this game is. But this time, the baby speaks to you.
Thank you.
No, don't talk to me until you've developed object permanence. Now you feed this absolute nightmare of a child, and no, please don't speak to me. You were creepy enough before you started talking. Shut up. I'm really enjoying this game so far. Too bad it keeps crashing after level 6. Do you want to bathe Pregnant Elsa and then have a very difficult time finding hitboxes again? The hitbox is the bottom left of her head for almost everything if you wanted to know. There's no screenshot option after you dress her either. Josh needs updates of my creations or he will have a panic attack. The next 2 Pregnant Elsa games, Ice Mommy's New Princess Baby and Princess Hair Salon, are literally nothing we haven't seen before. Pony Games Fun Dress-Up Games for Girls Ever 3 is more of the same, but now with ponies. World Ice Princess has you murdering this snowman, or at least coming close, because I'm pretty sure that last hit is impossible. I should know. I spent 3 minutes trying to hit the motherfucker. But you know what? At least in this princess or Elsa subgenre, it's original. Salon's pretty good because it's all about Elsa's feet, and there's actually a screenshot button so I can send this one to my boy Josh. I know he's gonna love this one.
Okay, I know I said I didn't want to be pushy, but you always fuck me over when I really need you. Bring Joe back. I'm there for you day and night. But when it comes down to returning the favor, you're never there. Just like how you went there for my mom's.
Huh. I guess he really likes Joe. That was a pretty good investment.
Ha ha ha. OMG, why am I so bad at this? Ha ha ha. Finish this level is easy, right? Ha ha ha. I can't keep falling. Ha ha ha. Oh jeez.
Okay, no, this is actually kind of creepy. I think it's the face that the mouth does not line up with what she's saying that gives it that uncanny feeling. So this game is called Skyroller. At first glance, this looks like your typical bad runner game, but after playing it, let me assure you, this is one of the better bad typical mobile games. The fact of the matter is, this game is only getting literally any amount of praise because the bar for runner games is so low. But what makes this game shine is the fact that this game actually requires a little bit of skill, a little bit of razzle-dazzle, if you will. You have to make sure you actually stay on the path once the paths get thinner. Sometimes the floor moves around, and you gotta move your thumb accordingly. And yeah, you know what? That's enough to set it apart from the rest. I know what I'm talking about. Trust me.
Think you know the Bible?
Let's find out. In the blank, God created the heavens and earth. In the beginning! God damn it. I hate... Wait, what was that, Bob?
No.
What a great voice line. I love it. Okay, so they're just gonna keep getting the answers wrong on purpose. I just hate that trope so much, but that's everywhere. So if you don't know, Bob Barker is the host of a game show called The Price is Right. And I guess the show's fallen off since he's been reduced to this. Not that it's an official game or anything, but maybe it should be. Jesus' game could be a hit, that's all I'm saying. So I don't know if this game is even real. I couldn't find it on the App Store or anywhere online. It only exists in this one video as far as I'm concerned. What a pity, this game had me this close to becoming religious.
Help!
I think my favorite part about this ad is how it's clearly meant to be interactive, but whoever recorded this just didn't participate. And maybe it's just me, but I picture the sniper looking down like, ha ha ha, it's all going according to plan. The mutant Hitlers will take over in no time. This game is Helicopter Escape 3D. Now let's play it and see if I can find this mustached fellow. So this game is a slow-paced rail shooter. Here you're just shooting the burglars or zombies chasing the random girl. And if they catch her, that means you're very bad at video games, but also you lose. There's a few mechanics to kill them in creative ways, but there isn't very much evolution of gameplay. As you run, the enemies come out in waves, but for literally every single wave, you'll be fine if you just kill the first few out in front. The rest will never catch up. There's a bunch of different guns with minor differences, Batman and Boba Fett ripoff skins, and don't even get me started on the more slower paced and way more boring version of level they throw at you. Wow. The fuck? And don't even get me started on the more boring and slower paced levels that they throw at you every now and then. Like, I guess this is an attempt to shake things up, but you spend more time waiting for the camera to move around so you can actually shoot people than shooting people. Also, you can skip some cutscenes by tapping on the screen, but tapping on the screen during a cutscene also fires your gun once the game starts. So yes, you can accidentally shoot the girl that you're supposed to save. This is in fact the only way I've ever lost a level. Okay, now shooting the enemies in succession can be very satisfying, I'll give the game that. But I'll never forgive them for not having Kaiju Hitler. Yeah, that's right, he's not even in the game. Who saw that coming? Not me. A mobile game had lied to us? Oh, fuck. However, there are at least boss fights. The only one I bothered to play was against Godzilla. It was so thrilling. I just mindlessly tapped the screen until it died. And no, that's not a joke. I wanted to see if I could beat the boss with my eyes closed, and I could. So yeah, that game's phenomenal. The next ad has copywritten music, so I had to mute it, but I'll give you a commentary. And I'll try to add the sound effects in post. Alright, this will go kind of fast and I have not prepared, so brace yourselves. Alright, we got this. This is self-explanatory, right? Okay, there's a nice shitting sound effect there. And of course they're bullying the poor Steve, because he's a minority. They're actually all minorities there. They push the train over. Oh shit, it's Choo Choo Charles. There's also a yeet sound effect that will not go unnoticed. And now he's the leader of the train, I guess. And I got no words. It's just diabolical laughing. That's an ad for a video game. Oh shit, I almost just tripped over my chair. Yeah, I don't know what the animation was. So this game is called Craft Monsters Hide and Seek. Apparently it's only on Google Play, unlike Angry Birds. But the funny thing is, when I first looked up this game on my iPhone, I was of course met with no results. So my plan was to find a game with a similar title and play it just for fun. That led me to Evil Monster Hide and Seek Story. Same exact energy. So this new game is actually very similar to the game that the ad's for, but this one is way worse. So what I'm trying to say is, it's a fitting substitute. In this game, you get to choose whether or not you play as the monster or the human for each level. Except for the first couple levels, I had to play as the monster for the first one, and here's my gameplay. Yeah, I'm not really sure what happened either. Next level, you have to play as the human and escape the monster. However, the monster just kind of follows whatever path you take. So I really don't know how you're even supposed to die. You have to actively turn around and run into him all on your own. Anyway, in the next level, you can choose if you want to play as monster or human. However, they have retconned any differences between the two. I picked the human and I'm now hunting down monsters as if I was playing a monster. I don't know if there's even a difference in their roles anymore. Alright, take it away, real life Peter Griffin.
How's it going there, really? You know who I am. Look, I just summoned a griffin in Summoner's War Chronicles. Want to see me summon a talking dog next?
So yeah, this mobile gaming company went onto Cameo, as you can tell by the watermark, and there they paid money for the real life Peter Griffin to promote their game. Genius.
Fight alongside your monsters in a new open-world action RPG. Kinda like how I'm always fighting a giant chicken in the real world.
I have no words for the ad itself. It's just a work of art as far as I'm concerned.
Download now on mobile or Steam and summon your best. Ah, jeez. I just got Meg.
Also, fun fact, this is the one game that I found out in the wild for this video. And it's the only reason that I'm even making another mobile gaming video. That's just kind of how I decide whether or not I'm gonna make another one of these. I have to see an ad that inspires me, and this spoke to me, I guess. I don't know, man. Anyway, let's get to the game itself, Summoner War Chronicles. The game starts with a fully animated intro, followed by a fully animated cutscene, followed by a fully animated cutscene, and oh my god, there are so many cutscenes. So yes, I was able to make my own character. I named him after the prophet Bob Barker himself. And in between cutscenes, I was playing the game, you know, doing tutorials and whatnot. But oh my god, are there a lot of cutscenes. And the thing with these cutscenes specifically is that there are so many characters doing so many different things while changing locations so many times, I literally cannot keep up. As soon as I was done my play session, I just sat there and attempted to figure out one goddamn thing that happened in any of those cutscenes, and I just couldn't. Meanwhile, I realized I also retained none of the tutorial. Like, I'm pretty sure I was taught what all of these buttons do, but I immediately forgot. I feel like I just watched a video from a bad knockoff Mr. Beast. I was shown so many cool and flashy things in such a short amount of time, but none of it stuck with me. I know I may not have given this game the chance that it truly deserves, but I didn't expect it to be as intense as it was. Peter didn't prepare me for that. He just made like a Meg joke. And that's all I remember right now from the ad even.
Ah, jeez. I just got Meg.
Also, if you couldn't tell by the word Summoner in its title, this game is a gacha game. Now let me tell you one thing about gacha games. I have literally never enjoyed a gacha game. I just think they're kind of manipulative, and I've never had a gacha game's, you know, actual gameplay make any of the gacha elements worth it. So I'm sorry, Peter. Sorry, Brian. I'm sorry, Stewie. That was not in the script. I can't play this any longer.
I guess I'm trapped here for maybe all of eternity. Could be worse. I could be stuck in a PETA video. Anyway, if you actually want more of my mobile gaming videos after this compilation, then check out these two videos right here. I didn't use any clips from them in this video, so they'll be completely fresh. Can't lie, it's pretty lonely here.